Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Anishka Gandhi, and in today's video I'm going to address this most popular question which most of us have, a very common doubt which people have when they decide to immigrate to Canada is with which path to choose in order to immigrate to this country, whether to go for a study visa or to directly apply for permanent residency of Canada. So this video is going to be about my opinion as to what would be better in terms of plus and minuses in both of these routes, because when people choose or when people decide to come to Canada, they have this future and plans in their mind as to plan to settle in Canada. So we're going to talk about everything in that particular aspect. So without wasting any further time, let's get started with this video. So when it comes to immigrating to Canada, the most popular, the most preferred, or the most opted chosen way of coming to this country is via a study visa. So what people usually tend to do is they apply for a course here in a particular college or a university, get their study permit, their study visa, come to this country, get their course done, then apply for their work permit, get their work visas. Thereafter, they secure a knock level job, secure enough points, apply for their permanent residency of Canada, thereafter eventually apply for their citizenship of Canada. So this is like a trail, this is like a way of, a very common way of getting into this country and thereafter securing and becoming a citizen of Canada. Whereas there is also a not so popular, not so chosen yet equivalent and another pathway of coming to Canada is using an express entry pathway. It is basically wherein you apply for a permanent residency of Canada right from your own country, and all you're required to apply for it is you need to have enough score in order to beat the cutoff of the express entry. Now the reason I've mentioned these two pathways is these two pathways are very confusing. Many people feel very confused as to which pathway they need to choose or which pathway they're supposed to go to. So what I would like to say is there is a category, you need to understand which category you fall into when it comes to applying for the immigration of Canada. If you're someone who is just passed out from your 10th standard or your 12th standard, or you've just done your bachelor's degree, you would not probably have enough score, you would not be able to beat the cutoff of the express entry, so you probably would not be having enough points to apply for your permanent residency directly from your country. In that case, there is a by default way of coming into this country is going for your study permit, going for your study visa. So in that case, if you can directly apply for a course in a college, get your study visas and get into the country and eventually get the rest of the process of immigration done. But if you're someone who has already done your bachelor's, who've probably done your master's as well, if not, you've got your work experience, you've worked for good 2-3 years in a professional setting, you've got enough work experience, you probably have a good command over English language, you can score well in IELTS, you have some siblings or someone in Canada who would help you fetch a little more score in beating that cutoff. Or if you're someone who falls in the age group of 25 to 29, which would be the best age group to apply for the permanent residency for the express pathway, I think if you're someone who falls into that category, close your eyes and apply for your permanent residency directly. Because what I understand here is, in the haste of immigrating to the country, we end up choosing a very random course, a very compromised study course, come here in Canada for the sake of studying. We just study for those 2 years and eventually choose a job which probably would not be relevant to what you've actually studied in Canada. So it's nothing but waste of those $30,000-$40,000 which you've put only to immigrate to Canada. So here in that case, what I would like to suggest you is just wait, be calm, understand what your outcomes are, understand what you need to do, clarify the consequences of going for study visa. If you're already a person who has got enough enough educational experiences or background in your profile, just go for the direct entry pathway, because you would be probably having enough score. A good score is always score which falls into 460 to say 490, in the range of 460 to 490, you would be a person with good score, on and likely to be, getting invited for the Canadian permanent residency. Whereas if you're someone who is very immature, if your professional background is not properly developed, you could then go for a study pathway. You could just choose for a course which would probably help you fetch a professional job here in Canada. So these are the two ways, which are evident and which always make you feel confused as to which path to choose. What I would say, the only reason of making this video is, it takes a lot of effort. It gives you you have to put a lot of effort, your time, your money, everything, in order to go for the study pathway, because 2 years is not a small thing. You're wasting 2 years of your life for something which you probably might not be interested in. So it's always better, unless you have a different future plan, it's always better to think about it very very nicely. Like, be calm and give it your time. Don't be in a haste of coming into the country. Anyways, the Canadian immigration system has slowed, it's almost paused. So what I would suggest is understand your expectations from your future. What exactly, if you're looking to just emigrate to Canada, if you think you've already secured enough score, just go for the direct pathway. If you think, because I understand what comes to your mind is probably, enjoying the Canadian college life, learning in Canadian colleges or universities could give you a different kind of experiences. But what I would say is, paying 3 times as much as money for a course which probably would not help you fetch a good job, is not I would say a big no, because you eventually, when you become a Canadian permanent resident, you would get the same course done for, I would say, 3 times less the price you would probably be paying now. So think about it twice, thrice. If you would have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I would be happy to help. This was just like a very one-on-one kind of a video, wherein I would just wanted to sit down and say this, that understand where you fall into, which category you fall into. If you're someone who is immature, if you're someone who is like very new in terms of the professional education, just go for it. Go for a study visa. I wouldn't say anything, because you would probably be in your early 20s. But if you're someone who's already developed a good profile, just apply for your permanent residency. That is something which I would like to suggest. This is something which I have understood over the time, after meeting many people, getting their experiences, understanding what they have chosen or what they have fallen into. If you would have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I'll see you back in my next video with a new topic. Until then, goodbye.